What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. It is match preview day, a massive game to really see, a really good barometer of where we're at with the game this weekend. Obviously, we beat Burnley 3-0 in the opening day of the season. Now it's time to test our wits against Manchester City at the Etihad. It don't get much more difficult than that. But look, we're going to get into all the match day stuff in a bit. But first and foremost, how are we doing today, Sim?
Starting to get over it. I think we're all getting over it now. All right, it's been a difficult 48 hours as a Tottenham fan, one of the hardest in recent weeks for sure. So, we've got to dust ourselves off, and we just got to hope and pray that there's some more stuff to come. The transfer market, I still think there's a lot to be excited about with Frank and the team and what he can do. He's already shown so far as Tottenham manager, he can make a lot of what he's got. So,
I tell you what, I'm completely over it. I really am completely over it. Like, I think Frank put it perfectly. Look, if someone don't want to be here, then we don't want him here. And at the end of the day, Arsenal was always his first choice. He's an Arsenal fan, so he can do one. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. But we just got to hope we get someone in. That's the thing. As much as we can all be over it, and I think we're all over it, we still need a player. It doesn't have to be equivalent quality, but we need a good player to come in and fix that creativity issue. And,
of course.
And if we don't get that person in, then there's going to be a lot of anger and frustration, regardless of what Eze has decided to do or not. So that is what the focus has got to be on now.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, right at this moment in time, it hurt for a little bit. But now I couldn't give two shits where Eze has gone, to be honest. And,
he's going to flop anyway.
He's won the last trophy of his career at Crystal Palace, so good luck to him. Look, we've got some transfer tidbits to bring to you today. And first and foremost, let's talk about Savinho once again. And Fabrizio Romano said yesterday that Tottenham...
Wait, let me guess what he said. Did he say that Spurs are still in for Savinho, and if City sells Savinho, they'll go for Rodrigo?
Similar, not too far away. Not too far away, but he says Tottenham have made new contacts with Man City over a possible move for Savinho, but Man City are still blocking any move for Savinho. But Spurs are pushing as Frank is in love with Savinho. I mean, does he not get fed up of saying the same thing over and over again?
Honestly, it's getting so boring, man. It's I can't even see a Romano Savinho update without rolling my eyes anymore. Like I can't get excited about it. Look, something might happen, and I agree with you. Like, I think if there's anything likely to happen, it's probably going to be after the game on the weekend. So I think we have to sit here, maybe be a bit patient and see if any movement's going to happen with this deal. As I've said repeatedly, I'm not really convinced anything will happen. I can't really sit here and say I'm confident by the end of the window Savinho is going to be a Tottenham player, because I don't truly believe it. But we're still in there. We're still getting encouragement from Savinho on his side, so that's good. And maybe there'll be some compromise on either our side in terms of how much we pay, or on City's side in terms of how much we're demanding. I think there's going to have to be a compromise somewhere to get this deal done. But Romano is just saying the same thing every day, over and over again.
It's been like 2 weeks.
There's been no movement. There's been no movement. There's been no movement in this deal whatsoever ever since the first literally the first update is the same as the update today. So, yeah, I'm not going to get excited until I'm seeing something a bit more.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that, and I don't have too much confidence that the deal is going to get done. However, I've always maintained the kind of opinion that if a deal is going to get done for Savinho, it would have been after this game that's going to be played out this weekend. Now we're here on the eve of the game, 12:30 tomorrow. Let's see what dominoes could potentially fall after the game. I'm not holding my breath, but let's just be hopeful that something can happen. Next up, we're going to talk about Magnus Akliouche of Monaco. David Heitner says that Tottenham have now made inquiries for Magnus Akliouche. I mean, I think we heard that a couple of days ago as well, when we knew the Eze deal had fumbled. But yeah, I do feel like with what we need, he should probably be next on the list.
Yeah, he should be high up, and that's another one that has been mooted by a lot of different journalists at Tottenham are very highly interested in him, and I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a quality player, but then apparently other clubs have gone in for him and been put off by the price tag because they're demanding too much. Are Tottenham going to feel the same way? Are they going to lower their fee? The problem is now, the big problem that we have is we're entering the final 10 days of the window. In some instances, yes, it's a lot of movement does happen in that time, but also when you're looking to sign team star players like an Akliouche, it's can be tougher sometimes to get them out their club because they've not given them much time to replace them. Now you can still do it, but you might have to pay over the odds to make it worth their while to let him go, and we know we don't like doing that. But regardless of that, I think he's a quality player. I'd love him at Tottenham. I think he would be a good alternative to Eze. But yeah, I hope we stump up the money for him.
Yeah, I think after everything that's happened in this transfer window, it's clear what Spurs are looking for, right? A winger and a number 10 and potentially a centre-back from now to the end of the transfer window. And I think the club know, I think the manager knows, I think the fans know that if we don't bring in at least some of these targets, we're leaving ourselves very short going into the season with 4 competitions to contend for, one of those competitions being the Champions League. I think that they should be well aware now, with this little time left of the window, with all the deals that we've bungled so far this transfer window, they're going to have to pay over the odds. I don't see a situation how we're not going to have to pay over the odds, and surely they got to be prepared for that. They have to be.
Also, slightly worried me what Frank was saying in his press conference, and he was talking about our attacking options and how good a lot of them are. But he said, "I'm sure we'll get a player before the end of the window." I don't know. I know it's just like a throwaway comment, but I think that goes into his mindset of. Is it like he could have said, "Oh, maybe we'll get some transfers in before the end of the window," but he said a player. Now, it could have been a kind of subconscious thing where they might have to settle for just one more signing. I feel, and that kind of worried me. What he was saying. There was kind of an implication there that maybe we're only going to get one more in, and I'm kind of worried about that.
Look, we'll have to wait and see how things progress. I think not only Frank, not only you, but I think the whole of the Spurs fan base are worried about that fact. But they're not even just worried about one transfer, they're worried about not making any signings from now until the end of the transfer window. So, look, it's obviously a valid concern to have, but there's no point, making any predictions or any sweeping judgments until the end of the transfer window. Let's talk about Morgan Rogers once again, shall we? As Miguel Delaney says that Spurs have contacted intermediaries about Morgan Rogers, who is now a priority target. Villa don't want to sell, but there's a feeling an actual bid could change things amid PSR pressures. Contact ensures he would cost considerably more than Eze. Tottenham circles expect Morgan Rogers to cost around £80 million, but it may take even higher figure to make Aston Villa seriously consider his sale. Yeah. Look, I think in an ideal world, this guy is probably the most kind of, the best target that we could possibly think of. He's also going to be very expensive. I think you probably don't get him for 85 minimum. I don't think Spurs are going to go that high on anyone, but he is the ideal kind of target and candidate for the job.
Yeah, move on. It ain't happening. It's just, you might as well move on. We're not going to get anywhere near what they want. They've just sold Jacob Ramsey for 45 million to Newcastle. So in terms of PSR issues, that article was talking about, they're probably nowhere near as bad as they would have been a week ago. So I'm sure they're not in a position where they have to sell. Obviously, if they get 85 million, that gives them a bit of room to sign some players between now and the end of the window for some big money, but then you lose your best player. So it doesn't really help the situation. So this deal is not even a non-starter for me. It's just not happening. I don't even know if it's worth inquiring. We're not going to... I think the highest we'll probably go is 70 million. I just can't even see us going higher than that.
If you take this kind of report at face value and saying that Spurs are actually genuinely interested in Rodgers,
I'm sure we are,
and we're going as far to make an inquiry, but internally they think that he's going to cost a minimum of 80 million. Is that positive in terms of that they have that figure in mind?
They might cost 80 million. Who are they willing to go to 80 million? Look, in Tottenham's mind, are they thinking, Villa are going to demand 80 million. That's the figure they have in their head of what Villa are going to demand. And Levy's going to try and negotiate him down to like 70 plus 10. And he's going to try and get, that's their thinking. Or they're thinking Villa are going to demand 100, but we're willing to spend 80. I think it's probably the former. They're probably thinking maybe Villa will demand 80 and we'll try and haggle them down. And that's not going to happen. That isn't going to be the case. They're going to be demanding more than that. And we're not even going to be looking to spend 80 million.
How much do you reckon he's worth in this market?
I think he's probably worth, in terms of just got Young Player of the Year, really young, big, long contract at a good club in European football. So he's probably worth, 70 million, something like that. Yeah. I think that's fair.
I mean, I would agree. In the ballpark between 70 and 80, I would say. I really believe this guy is going to just keep getting better and better and better. I love watching him. Such an exciting player. Unfortunately, it's going to be for Aston Villa and no one else this summer.
There's no. I mean, we can inquire and we can be interested all we like, but it's never going to happen unless we're do what Villa did, City did with Grealish, and go, you know what, you want 100 million, or you just stump up the money and really go big and just be comfortable with the fact that okay, we're probably paying about over the odds, but we're getting him in. That's the mentality we've got to do. We're never going to have that mentality.
That's
and
what
it's
a
never
serious
going to
club
do.
would do. That's
exactly
what a serious club would do. And when you're looking at the failed attempts for Morgan Gibbs-White and Eze, this guy should be of the same kind of caliber. And I know Morgan Gibbs-White and Eze were going to cost a bit less than what Rodgers is going to command, but you're seeing the clear holes in the squad, and he would fill some of those holes. So in my opinion, you go out and spend that money on a Morgan Rodgers. That's what you do. You go and test the waters. You go slap down 80 million and see what comes of it.
Test the waters with a very big bid where they'll make them think, we're just never going to do it. I know this club, we're never going to do that.
You know for certain the testing the waters bid for us would be like 45 million plus like 5 million in add-ons, don't you?
Yeah, well that's what it'll be, and then they'll slap that down, and they'll laugh us out the room, and that'll be that. Like, we're never going to get close to a fee for Rodgers that will make Villa think, in my opinion.
Yeah. Next up, we are going to talk about Yeremy Pino of Villarreal, as the Mail are reporting that Pino is on the radar from the likes of Tottenham, Bournemouth, Everton and Palace have also explored a move to. He's a player that's actually been linked with us for a good number of years now. He kind of came to the fore when a very young player. I think it was at the age of 19 when he made his Villarreal debut, maybe even younger. Last year, 4 goals, 7 assists for Villarreal, 30 million market value. Yeah. Could he be a kind of alternative for Savinho?
Yeah, because he's. I remember he was a winger. Didn't he have like an ACL?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, because I remember he was very highly thought of, and then he had that bad injury. But it seems he's come back and done quite well last season, played a lot, and getting regular goals and assists. So that's really encouraging, and fair play to him. I'm delighted for him that he seems to have fully recovered from that serious injury, because you never know how players, especially even if they're young, how they're going to recover from such a serious injury. Sometimes they come back and they're never the same. But he seems to be back and doing quite well, so that's really encouraging. I think he's a good alternative to Savinho, potentially, as a really good winger. I really liked him before, obviously he got that really bad injury. I thought he was like on a really good trajectory, so I'd be very interested in him, but I think in a perfect world, maybe he probably wanted to see one more season. But yeah, it sounds like he had a decent season last season.
On the back of that season, he got called up to the Spain national team. He hadn't been called up since 2022. And now he's back in the Spain national team for the Nations League semi and final.
Okay, so that's really positive. I think he can also potentially play in the 10 as well. So I think he was really good, and he was on a really good trajectory before that injury, and seems to recover from it. So that also shows really good mentality to be able to do that, really strong mentally to be able to do that. So I think definitely I would be excited about him.
Yeah. Me as well. I think obviously I'd prefer Savinho. I'd prefer just like players that have played in the Premier League before, but he is a player that you can get behind. I think he's a player that you can get excited about. Let's talk about some current players to finish this off. Wilson Odobert, there's a link with him to Correa dello Sport. AS Roma are attempting to sign Wilson Odobert. Spurs want to start negotiations over Estelle at 25 million euros. Roma could meet this price through a loan fee and an option to buy the player. And I'm thinking, we only just signed him for 25 million last summer. I don't think there's any chance that Spurs sanction a sale for 25 million. At the very most, I can see maybe a loan with a bit of a year of development for Roma, a really good Serie A side, and coming back into the fold next season with Spurs potentially looking to bring in another winger. But I think he'll be here. I don't think we're going to sell him or loan him.
Yeah, I think it's peculiar to think that we would. He had a pretty decent pre-season, started against Arsenal, and there's a lot of reports that Frank really is a big fan of his and has been impressed by him. So the thought of him letting him go for as little as 25 million when he hasn't even had a chance to play under him seems a bit far-fetched to me. However, you would say if we are signing a winger, we've been over it a number of times, haven't we, that the numbers don't really work unless someone's leaving. And that's on top of, players like Basuma. And obviously, we'll talk about Richarlison later, but at the beginning of the window, he was assumed he was leaving, and he was like in our out kind of column. And now he's not. So that's another option that isn't going to be out the door, it looks like. So who is leaving? That is to make, if we are going to sign a winger and a 10. That is obviously a good question. Now, logically, Odobert would be the candidate, to be honest. So when you think about it that way, could there be some legs to it? But I think it would be harsh. I really want to see what Odobert can do. I don't want to let him go just yet. I think, Frank seems to be a fan of his. So I don't really believe it. Roma just signed Leon Bailey as well. Maybe they're looking for another one. I don't know. But, I hope he doesn't leave for that much. But, in theory, there is a case for it. Yeah.
Just by the numbers.
Yeah.
100% there is a case for it. And I
was going to say, sorry, in his press conference, he was talking about the attacking options and he didn't mention Odobert, which I thought, was that a mistake, or is there something about that? He mentioned all the other ones and he didn't mention Odobert.
But he has mentioned before Odobert and how much he likes him. He has. So, it is an interesting one. We've been having these conversations all summer about the wingers, haven't we? Mm-hmm. We've been having these conversations literally all summer. And I kind of said before the pre-season started, Odobert could be the fall guy here. I think out of the wingers that we've got, Kudus aside, like after Kudus, I think Odobert probably had the strongest pre-season out of all of them, out of Brennan, Tell, and anyone else that we got on the wings. So I would be surprised if Odobert was to leave from now to the end of the window. I don't think it's happening. I think this is just a bullshit story, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also not the best source anyway.
Next up, let's talk about Richarlison then. Some interesting comments made by Ange Postecoglou, by Thomas Frank in the press conference. Edu Burgos says that Richarlison will not leave Tottenham this summer. He wasn't offered to Crystal Palace as part of the Eze deal. Thomas Frank is counting on Pombo as part of the project this season. And it was very interesting to hear that Thomas Frank called him his starting number 9 in the press conference. How must Dom Solanke be feeling right now?
Well, at the end of the day, if the roles were reversed, it would be, people wouldn't be surprised. But because Richarlison started the summer as a player that a lot of people expected potentially leaving, and Solanke's expected to be the number 9, now all of a sudden, you can ask that question. But at the end of the day, he's playing well. Solanke was injured, right? And he taken his chance. He snatched it with both hands, and he's been phenomenal. So it's only fair that he has the shirt. You wouldn't expect that of any other position. So regardless of what Solanke's feelings are, at the end of the day, Solanke's benefited himself from a similar situation when Richarlison's been injured and he's come in and done well. So I think Richarlison deserves it, and fair play to him. Fair play to Frank for basically confirming it, giving Richarlison that confidence. That's probably a massive confidence boost for him, because there's always that fear, isn't it? However well Richarlison's doing right now, there is probably that fear at the back of his mind. Once Solanke's fully fit, does he just come straight back in, given his big money signing? And I know some people weren't too happy with him last season, but he did all right. I think the club were probably happy with him in general. So a lot of people obviously expected Solanke to be the number 9 this season, but I think Richarlison deserves it. But at the end of the day, he only deserves it until he doesn't. You know what I mean? So if he drops his performance level, Solanke's ready and waiting. So it's on Richarlison to make sure he doesn't lose his spot. Yeah. But fair play to Rishi. And I think those quotes probably put to bed any lingering doubts of whether he was going to be leaving or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would go as far to say these two performances from Richarlison against Burnley and against PSG in the Super Cup are the best number 9 performances we've seen in a very long time, probably since Harry Kane was at the club. Like a pure number 9 performance, hold up play, link up play, goals, finishing ability, take-ons, like everything that you want to see your number 9 do. I think Richarlison has shown examples of that in the last 2 games. And I think, I genuinely believe that these 2 performances, we haven't seen that level of number 9 performance since Harry Kane.
Yeah, and I really do think Solanke's got a job on his hands if Richarlison keeps up this kind of form, because even when you look at the hold-up play, which is obviously what Solanke's known for, the thing is I feel with Solanke is a lot of the time he's very good at trapping the ball, holding it up. Sometimes I feel like he takes too long to release it, and sometimes he doesn't release it to the right person as well. And it sometimes lead to moves breaking down, and that can be quite frustrating. Whereas what I was seeing with Richarlison is he doesn't just win the ball, gets it quickly to a teammate, and make sure that we're doing it quickly, so that move gets maintained, and we actually have an attack. Whereas sometimes with Solanke, he can slow things down, and obviously we know when he's in the box, Solanke, he takes way too long to get his shots off. You saw with Richarlison. It just needs one touch finish and bam, it's in the back of the net. He's very quick to get those shots off, and and that can be a difference.
Yeah, it's also important to note that it is only 2 games performing at this level, and there is obviously the big grey cloud over Richarlison is whether he can stay fit. That's the main thing with Richarlison. If he can stay fit, I have no doubt that he'll be a brilliant player for us this season. And your prediction of him being, top goal scorer this season will probably come true. But that, the jury's heavily out on that one.
Yeah, and I think Frank knows that. He said it. He's been quite clear. He said Richarlison is not out the woods yet when it comes to his injury problems. They got to be very careful with him. So I don't think you can count your chickens yet when it comes to being confident, or pigeons when it comes to Richarlison keeping fit. I completely agree with that. But if he can stay fit, I generally think those 2 striker options, Solanke and Richarlison, they're both fit. Those are 2 good options. I know they're not both the best striker in the league. You can probably look at a lot of the other teams ahead of us and think, yes, they've got a better starting number 9 than us. But do they have a backup, and do they have 2 strikers collectively as good as those 2? I think those 2 can both score goals, both do good hold-up play, and I think both 2 good Premier League strikers. They can both get each 15 goals. I'm not saying maybe Premier League goals, but in all competitions, at least 15 to 20. I think they can both be doing that. So I don't think we have to worry about their number 9 this season if they can both stay fit.
And last but not least, another player that was mentioned in the press conference today was Dejan Kulusevski. So last night, David Heitner gave us an update, and he said that Kulusevski is expected to be out until the turn of the year, which is gutting news. If he is out to the turn of the year, when's he actually going to be fully fit? Is it going to take him a good few months after that? And Thomas Frank did say in the press conference today that he doesn't want to put a time frame on it, but it's going to be a long time. Yeah,
and that's the unfortunate reality with Kulusevski, this injury. We spoke about it a number of times when we heard about it. Decky was saying he's targeting September, and when I read up about this injury, I'm like, that sounds optimistic to me. This injury, when you look up on the recovery times, a lot of them say for just to get back playing 5 to 8 months, and then full recovery can take up to 12 months potentially to get back to your best. It's a really serious injury. So I think for me, I'm not expecting him probably, look, he might get back playing in like December time or something. I'm not expecting to see the Decky we saw at the back end of last season, potentially even until the next season. That, these injuries, you got to be patient with them, and it's going to be difficult because it's very frustrating, the situation. He got injured in when was it, April, or no, that Palace game was just before the final, wasn't it? And it was just after he just came back from an injury, after he was, having such a great time of it at the beginning of last season. So I think we've all been waiting to see that Decky again, and I think the frustration is it might be a lot more time before we see that. So it's a massive shame. But yeah, I know there was reports, a few weeks ago saying he's going to miss the first month of the season. A lot of fans were getting a bit excited about it. I'm like, I don't. It says he's going to miss it. It doesn't say he's going to be back after a month. Like, I think, we're not going to be seeing him at his fully best for a while. So this season could even be a bit of a write-off for Decky. Although Frank does say today he's going to come back this season. So maybe he's confident we'll see a good version of Decky at some point this season. But I wouldn't bank on it,
Yeah. I think
you got to plan without it.
100%, and he's one that can be left out the Champions League squad from the off for the group stages. And,
For the group stage, yeah.
And hopefully reintegrate him for the knockout rounds. Madison's obviously going to be out for the group stages, so you're already seeing that, a potential way to get to the to fit everyone in. With Basuma potentially leaving, we don't know what's happening with Vuskovic. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Is Kota Takai? Is he going to be part of the Champions League squad? So there are opportunities to add players into that for the group stages at least.
Yeah, at least. But then obviously once the knockouts come, and if Decky's back, got to have a decision to make. Yeah.
But you look at it with Kulusevski out until at least January, Madison out for pretty much the whole season. We need 2 number 10s, never mind just one. Like, I think it's desperate for 2.
2 10s and a winger and a defender.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, that's what we would do. But I honestly think we're only going to get one more signing.
Unless, I guess if you can bring in a winger that can play wing and 10.
Yeah.
You can bring in a number 10 and a number 10 plus a winger that can play 10 as well, or the other way around.
Yeah, and then it gives you a bit more flexibility. I don't see us signing 2 10s. I think at the very best, we'll get a winger and a number 10, or one of those wingers that can play 10, like an Akliouche, like a winger who can play 10, or 10 who can play wing kind of player. I don't think we're going to sign 2 pure number 10s. I think that's just a bit far-fetched.
It's far-fetched, but it's what we need. It's always what we need that's far-fetched.
Yeah.
Which is the frustrating.
But then all of a sudden, you're going to find yourself in a squad with 4 number 10s, like in a few months' time.
Well, not in a few months, probably in next season.
Still.
Yeah. Well, then, next season, next summer, there's some difficult decisions to make. We'll have 2. Well, look, we're not signing 4, so we're not signing 2. So it's probably just a stupid conversation. So I guess we can just probably move on from that, and let's just hope and pray we can bring in at least 1. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we've brought to you today. How many players do you think that Spurs are going to bring in from now until the 1st of September? Really not long to go. We're sitting here the 22nd of August. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Let us know in the live chat as well, people. How many players do you feel that Spurs are going to bring in from now until the end of the season? We got a super chat here from Barry Jones that says, I've heard Spurs are trying to sign Paul Dickoff for a second-hand pool table.
Yeah, I mean, it might be worth it at this point. Apparently the pool table at Spurs Lodge is the Spurs training ground is getting a bit raggedy, so
yeah,
need to upgrade it. And he's not gonna pay for a new one, is he? Yeah, second-hand one, it's all fine. Well, actually, he probably would. Actually, when it comes to anything other than football, no expense spared.
Yeah, they're gonna go for the most expensive pool table on the market, mate. But
yeah, in terms of what you're saying, time really is running out, isn't it? It's so worrying. I mean, this whole window. We've been chatting about signings and stuff. You've always got the feeling, there's still a lot of time left. But now, I mean, it's really crept up on you.
The window will be 4 days shut.
It's really creeping up on us how close we are to the end of this window. It's like it's going to be a massive week. So after we've got this game, and then we've got this week, and then we've got Bournemouth, and then it's deadline day. Or was it deadline day 1st or 31st?
First, yeah.
So it's 2 days. There's 2 days after the Bournemouth game is deadline day.
Yeah.
So we've really not got a lot of time.
It's basically this week.
This is the big week. It's a massive week. We've got to sign players. Everything's going to happen this week, or it's not really going to happen.
Yeah. So those deals like Van der Vaart surprise on deadline day, they don't happen anymore.
No, you know about them nowadays.
So I think by this time next week...
Although we do things in the shadows sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, realistically, on this day next week, I think we'll know what the shape of our squad's going to look like for the season.
So what, Monday is deadline day? A week on Monday?
Yeah.
God. Not a lot of time at all.
George, you big up to you with a super chat saying required signings are far-fetched because it's ENIC. Absolutely spot on. Malware with the super chat says ITK sources close to Arsenal suggesting that Arteta might be using Marmite as a hairstyling product. Who would have known? Well, it's quite obvious if you actually look at it.
God. Bastard.
All right, let's get into... We'll start off with the predicted lineup, I guess. And with the predicted lineup, we say a massive big up to our sponsors, Betmate, the fantasy gaming app where you can win real money. Not like the bookies. You're not going up against any big companies like that. It's just peer-to-peer gaming, where actually last week we had a pot open for the Burnley game. And if I just add my phone... Just bear with.
Sorry,
this was the leaderboard for the game last week. So actually, I'm not sure who you are and if you're watching, but Dark Azure won the pot last week, winning £35. Daniel D coming second.
Daniel D? No way is it...
I don't think it's Daniel D. I don't think it's the Daniel D.
The Daniel D.
Yeah. I came third, winning myself £11, and Sim came fifth, winning £4.50. So there you go. That's the leaderboard. So if you want to be in it to win it, guys, the QR code is currently on screen. It will be on screen for the rest of the stream as well. And it's...
The pot code, if you want to join for the pot.
Yeah, the QR code.
It goes straight, because sometimes last week they were saying it only goes to the app.
Okay, so it's WATTV -02 for the Man City pot.
And it's free to join. Completely free to join this pot, right?
Yeah.
This private pot. £100 up for grabs. You're taking on me and Ben in a fancy game just for the Man City versus Tottenham game. So you got to be in it to win it. It's an absolutely free to join.
Yeah, it makes every tackle, every goal, every substitution matter. You'll be glued to the game in a whole new way. But let's go and have a look at the teams that we've picked, that me and Sim have picked for this game. If you bring the phone template just back on, and we'll go through the teams that we sent you. So let's go and have a look at Sim's first.
So last week, I kind of... you're learning the rules as you go along. So I thought clean sheets were going to be worth more to defenders than they were. So I've adjusted my team, because apparently you get a lot more points for tackles and interceptions than I originally thought. So I've gone Vicario in goal, because I think he's going to make more saves. I actually think, is this my team? Yeah, it's my team. Yeah, Vicario in goal. I've gone Jed Spence in the defence, because he gets involved in quite a lot of duels, and I think in this game he will as well. Nuri, he was one of the ones who got most tackles and assists, I think, for the game against Wolves, so I put him in. Reinders and Kudus in the midfield. I think Kudus could be playing potentially up front again. Gone for him. Reinders, obviously, wonderful debut. Gets involved in duels and could potentially be getting involved in goal contributions as well. And up front, I've gone for Haaland as captain, and Jeremy Doku on the left-hand side for Man City.
Yeah, so it's important to note that captains double your points, and vice-captains, unlike fantasy, you get times 1.5 on your points as well. So vice-captains actually matter in this game as opposed to fantasy. And if you're an avid fantasy player, you will love... you would absolutely love this game. A real chance to earn real money. If we go and have a look at my team, I've gone for Vicario in goal. I think he's going to be pummeled a little bit, and I think his shot stopping is going to be, very much needed in this game. The back two, I've gone for Ryan Aït-Nouri. I think, first of all, he was brilliant in the first game. He always gets himself involved in the duels. Potential of a clean sheet as well. Pedro Porro, I've gone for next to him. I think he's also going to get himself involved in the duels. But not only that, I think if Spurs are going to score, I think he's a likely avenue for the success that Spurs are going to score from. Not only is he going to be on set pieces, but he's also going to be able to cross the ball in for Richarlison, and also play those balls over the top from deep as well. Because if we're going to catch City off guard, that might be the avenue of our success. In the midfield, I've gone for Mohamed Kudus, because I think Kudus is also going to get involved in a hell of a lot of duels in this game. He's going to be dropping deep. I think it's going to be a 3-5-2 with Kudus up top. And with him being up top, he might be one of the beneficiaries from those Pedro Porro over-the-top balls. And with him being a midfield player, his goals might be worth a bit more than an attacker. So I've gone for Kudus. I've gone for Tijani Reinders in the midfield alongside him. He's my vice-captain. I've gone for Richarlison up top alongside my captain, which is Erling Haaland. So I've gone for, pretty much a half. I've actually got more Spurs players than Man City players. So
Belief.
Yeah, that's my team. Saw Sim's team. Get involved, people. Take us on in the Betmate pot this weekend. Spurs against Man City. We'll have more over the course of the season. And like I said, there's real money to be made. Some of you guys got involved last weekend, and quite a few of you walked away with some money. So get involved, guys. Absolutely free to play. And that is from our sponsors today, which are Betmate. The QR code on screen. QR code is going to be on screen for the rest of the stream. And if you're not following the QR code, you join the pot and put in the code WATTV-02. So that is Betmate, people. But it is time to get in to our predicted lineup. Spurs face Man City. Spurs have a good record against Man City as well. 4-0 last time at the Etihad. I anticipate it's not going to be quite 4-0 this time. Man City looked on fire.
Don't rule it out.
In the first game. But in terms of the team news going into the game, what have we got for the game?
Yeah, so we know Maddison's long-term injury, Kulusevski's a long-term injury, they're out. Dragoshin, he's going to not be involved in this one. He says Basuma's out, whether you believe it or not. He's not going to be involved or available for this game. And he says Destiny Udogie is back in training, and he actually trained twice this week. But he said he wants him to have one more week training before he gets him involved. So he's not going to be involved this weekend. I don't know whether that means he's not going to be involved at all on the bench, but he says he's not ready for the game. So I'm guessing that means he's not involved.
For me, that he's not going to be involved at all. So, yeah, unfortunate on the injuries. Particularly, I mean, we could really do with Dejan Kulusevski going into this game and the deck he had. But yeah, if you just bring that graphic on, that is the team news visualized for you with Dragoshin, Kulusevski, Maddison, and Udogie and Bissouma. Is Bissouma actually injured?
I don't believe it. I think they're trying to engineer a move for him, and I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's too convenient. He got disciplined. We know he's looking to leave. It's just too convenient that he's saying he's injured. There seems to be an epidemic at the moment of all these players who are under transfer scrutiny being injured throughout the Premier League.
It's not a new thing though, is it?
I know, but it seems to be so many at the moment. Everybody's he's injured, this one's injured. Eze wasn't feeling well yesterday, apparently. So I think Bissouma's got transferitis.
Yeah, Eze looked completely fine after the game yesterday, didn't he?
Exactly.
But look, let's get into the lineup. I think it's going to be a 3-5 or a 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whichever way you want to spin it.
Same formation as PSG.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think that's the best avenue for us to go into this game with, judging by the way Man City looked on the first game of the season. In goal will obviously be Vicario, and his shot-stopping abilities is definitely going to be called into action in this one.
Yeah, and last time he was at the Etihad, it was a crazy game for him because he probably had his best game ever in a Tottenham shirt, and then he came out of it with a broken ankle and missed 3 months. So it was an extremely bittersweet day for Vicario. So I think hopefully returning to this game, returning to that stadium, it can invoke a similar performance that he had last year. He was brilliant last time.
Yeah. So Vicario in goal. Right wing back is definitely going to be Pedro Porro. We spoke about just before about how vital he can be for us in this game. You know, getting up and down the pitch with his crossing ability, best in the squad. Not only that, with his ball playing ability from deep, trying to catch out that Man City high line. But also, I feel like his defensive capabilities have been getting better as well.
Yeah, I think so as well. You know, PSG, I thought was excellent defensively. Against Burnley, that wasn't needed too much. But I think throughout pre-season, he's and I think in general, even at the back end of last season under Ange, he was getting a lot better defensively. So I think in general, he's been. I think people still tarnish him with a lot of the brush of when he first came here when it comes to defensively. I think ever since Ange's first year, even I think defensively he's been a lot better. But I think we've seen even more improvement over the last few months. So yeah, I think he's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in terms of, you know, being unfairly tarnished. A bit similar to like Romero. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, Romero's always going to give away a penalty, always going to give away a red card. I mean, when's the last time he's given away a penalty or a red card? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he should have been sent off in that friendly.
He should have.
Apart from that, yeah.
But, I'm saying in general, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
I agree. And I think he's only had one red card in
From Milan.
Oh no, 2 because he got sent off against Chelsea as well. But yeah, 2 in this. You got to remember, he's been here for a while now.
Yeah.
This is what, his 5th year?
Yeah.
And he's had 2 red cards. Everyone thinks he's a walking, talking red card, like he's Sergio Ramos.
Yeah.
But he's had 2 red cards in 5 years. Not like exactly crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So look, Pedro Porro right back, Cuti Romero, captain, is obviously going to be in there as well. Is he going to be right or centre?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was Romero centre, if I remember right. And then it was Danso on the right. I think it was like Danso right, Romero centre, like that. And then Mickey on the left.
Yeah. So that's going to be the back 3. And I think that's an awesome back 3, man.
Get the long throws in.
Get the long throws in. Get aggressive up against Haaland. Give him no space. And, yeah, I mean, it's going to be up to Cuti Romero, isn't it? I mean, Cuti Romero, I think, is going to be on Haaland like a bloody... don't know what, like, but something. He's just going to be all over him.
Absolutely, and yeah, for sure, he's going to be super aggressive up against Haaland. Those 3, you probably got Danso in there making sure Haaland's not getting any headers. You got Romero in there making sure Haaland's not getting it into feet. You're just going to be cutting off the supply, and then you got Van de Ven making sure Haaland's not running in behind. So you've got pretty much all 3, hopefully, of his big abilities covered there. But obviously, football is not always that simple. But in theory, I can understand the logic of locking down Haaland with those 3.
Yeah, obviously it's not just Haaland you need to watch out for.
Oh, absolutely not.
Plenty other players that Man City have can hurt you, and Tijani Reinders, definitely one of them, you know, was deployed in a more offensive role in the first game, which I expect he'll be the same. But I mean, he was doing everything. He was dropping deep, doing the defensive work, picking up the ball carrying, a goal threat as well. I mean, the guy just looks sensational.
Yeah, he
really does. But that's the back 3. Right backs, obviously, we said Porro. Left back is going to be Jed Spence, and he's going to need to be on his A game if he's going to. Who's going to be on that side for Man City, do you reckon?
Oscar Bob, I would say he was brilliant on the first game, so I think he probably retains his place if they're going to go for a similar team. That is.
I know Oscar Bob's a very good player. But I think Jed Spence is going to fancy his chances up against Oscar Bob. To be honest, I think Jed fancies his chances up against anyone, to be honest. I don't know if you saw the social media post from Jed on the weekend. He's like, 0 out of 10. I'll buy you dinner if you can complete a take-on against me. And it was obviously targeted at Mohamed Kudus. And I'm quite disappointed at Kudus, actually, not being able to do one take-on against Jed Spence.
Yes, Kudus must be absolutely seething at that. But, yeah, he's a brilliant one-on-one defender. And I think Oscar Bob is a top talent. But Jed Spence, he's gonna enter the Jed Spence penitentiary. That's the reality.
Absolutely.
But I do feel like as well, obviously with that back 3, it allows Porro, Spence to get that a little bit further forward as well. That would be the idea here.
Yeah. So the back 5 is the back 5. Let's move on to the midfield, and I think it's going to be a Premier League debut for João Palhinha in the heart of that Spurs midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going from central, like there, in the middle, in that middle 3. He's got a massive game on his hands, but I think these are the games he's here for. These kind of games where it's not all about ball progression, it's all about, you know, beating the press. It's about duels and being competitive and breaking up Man City's play. And, you know, he was brilliant at that against PSG. And once he went off, it all changed. So I think, Palhinha will know the assignment here.
Yeah, definitely. Alongside João Palhinha, I think the first player I want to talk about is Pape Matar. I think he's definitely going to be in the side. He's been brilliant so far, followed on his brilliant pre-season with a brilliant performance against Burnley, and he has to be in the team.
Yeah, he's been fantastic so far early in the season. His energy is fantastic. I think if there's going to be a player, you know, from that midfield joining the attack and looking to hurt Man City running behind, it's going to be him as well. So, yeah, Pape Matar has to start, I think. Can't leave him out right now.
Yeah. And that leaves one more space in the midfield. In my opinion, it's going to be Rodrigo Bentancur. There is a case to say Lucas Bergvall, but I think just add that extra steal in there, Rodrigo Bentancur, alongside Pape and João Palhinha, and that is that's a physical midfield.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be them 3. You can't leave. I think he loves Bentancur. I don't think he's leaving him out in this game with his experience. I think he has to start. He was, again, brilliant against PSG. And I think he's got that little bit of more composure than I think probably on the ball a bit better than the other two as well. When it comes to maybe dragging the ball forward and having that bit more awareness. So I think he's going to be needed in this game for sure.
So that moves us on to this two strikers. So Richarlison is obviously the natural striker in there. We've just spoken about how brilliant he's been in the last two games.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, he's going to be vital in terms of dropping back, linking the play together, being there to finish off the chances when we do create them. And if chances fall to him, he needs to be super clinical. Clinical.
And I think the hold-up play is going to be so vital in this game as well, because we know City are going to have most of the ball. So when he does get his chance to get on the ball and get Tottenham getting an attack, he has to hang on to it, because every time he loses it, that's just a chance of us springing an attack gone. And we're not going to have too many of those on Saturday. So his role was super important. He has to do exactly what he did against PSG, make a nuisance of himself, make sure that back line is never comfortable, and make sure when he gets the ball, he finds a teammate and he doesn't lose it easily, and he's strong and he's competitive, and he's winning his headers, winning flick-ons, doing that kind of stuff. Doesn't even have to be I mean, obviously, preferably, he's also a massive goal threat, and I think we need that too, but just those fundamentals, he needs to be on top of his game for those things for us to function.
And last but not least, to make up the predicted 11 is going to be Mohamed Kudus alongside Richarlison. And we saw how vital Kudus was in the PSG game. I mean, Nuno Mendes must have been having nightmares of Mohamed Kudus that night. And let's hope some Man City players are going to be having the same sort of nightmares.
Yeah, and I think similar to Richarlison, his role is really important. And I think the way that they linked up against PSG and made it stick was what allowed us to relieve pressure at certain points and obviously win free kicks, get set pieces, and obviously take advantage of those situations. And the big difference as well, I'm looking at like PSG's back line compared to Man City's, and I think PSG's is more physical than what Man City's going to offer. So I think Tottenham will be looking at that back line and they'll be thinking, is there a ability for our front two to get even more joy in this one than they were against PSG? I think the one thing against PSG that we need to work on in this game is, yes, they did really well, that front two, but we still didn't maybe create enough in open play when it came to counter-attacks. A lot of the times it led to free kicks being won and we took advantage of the set pieces. I can remember Richarlison having one chance which he forced a save out of, but we need to maybe think about creating a lot more from open play and creating more chances and exploiting the space that you're going to leave. And those two are going to have a big part to play in that. But yeah, that 3-5-2, I think I can actually envisage Kudus and Richarlison getting more joy in this one than they did against PSG.
Yeah, you could be right. I think our transitional play is going to be so important, vital. And I think in the midfield, the guy that we're going to look to really push us high up the pitch and really benefit of those transitions going to be Pape. He's going to be on it. He's going to have to be nicking that ball off the midfielder and just banging on, bombing on. And once he gets a run on you, Pape, he's very fast and very kind of agile. It's hard to catch him.
Yeah, and I think set pieces is going to be obviously the big one. Obviously, we're going to have Danso from the long throws. We're going to have. Look, we've already shown against PSG and even so far in pre-season and even against Burnley, like we've got plans. We've got plans and we're executing them from these corners and free kicks. And Man City got to be careful. And it's kind of catch-22 when you got someone like Kudus there and he's holding the ball up and he's spinning you. Do you bring him down and give us a chance to get a set piece, or do you allow him to run into the space? And having someone like Kudus forces you into that kind of decision. And that's the beauty of what someone like Kudus brings you.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, that is our predicted lineup going into the game this weekend. 1 second.
Someone in the comments, by the way, said,
"Can you add the QR code from what I sent you?"
Someone in the comments. Who are you? They said they saw me on Madison's vlog. Now I haven't watched it all. But I know where they're talking about. I actually know where it could have been because there was an event that he was at and he had his little thing with him and he was recording. So he must have added that to the vlog, but I haven't seen it. Has anyone else seen it in the chat? Madison. But have you seen Madison's vlog in general? His YouTube channel?
I've seen clips of it.
It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it is good stuff. I've just seen the Sonny stuff, to be honest. I've seen a lot on social media, but
let me see if I can find myself.
That's what he is now. He's a YouTuber.
I mean, yes, it's so funny. James Alcott, I think, said he before the season started, one of his predictions for the season was he predicts Madison will become a YouTuber even before his injury. Let me see if I can find myself. So this is Korea. Was it? Would it be? So it was, I know what it is because it was at an AIA event. Because I was there. So let me see if I can find. So now it would have been before the game. Let me see if I can find it. And this is them arriving in Korea. So it must have been after this. Oh no! It was in Hong Kong. It was in Hong Kong. He's got the light show. Was he there? Oh, because it was right outside the team hotel.
Yeah, the whole squad were watching the light show.
Yeah, it was right outside the team because we were right there as well. I'm trying to see if I can find. Oh, here. So here's the event. Okay, let me see if I can. So okay. Here's the event. I want to see if I can see myself. Where do people see me? You see, I don't know. Anyone timestamping it? I'll try and find it. I'll post a screenshot. Was this in? I can't see myself. I don't know. Oh, there I am. There I am.
Where, show me.
There.
Oh yeah.
In the background there. Here.
Didn't even say hi to you.
I actually did say hi to me.
You should do him for image rights.
Yeah, sure. I tell him I don't give him my permission.
Exactly.
Madison. I don't give you my permission.
You should do him for image rights, man.
Unless you give me credit. The vlog should be titled Madison's Vlog featuring We Are Tottenham TV. That should be the title of the vlog. 2244, yeah. Big up to Madders. I'm enjoying the content, but need some credit there, mate. Need some credit. Yeah, people are already timestamping. We've got some super chats. Super chats from, let me see, Voldorn. Hi guys, Vicario has been shocking. Bit harsh, isn't it?
Shocking at what?
Shockingly good. No, to be fair, in pre-season he wasn't amazing, but I think as the season started, I got no problem with him.
Yeah, but not being amazing and being shocking are like
two polar opposites. Yeah, it's a bit harsh. I think
he hasn't been shocking at all.
No, I thought against PSG was good. Burnley didn't have to do much, been all right.
Yeah.
I actually think his passing does seem to be improving. I actually think he seems to be getting a bit more composure. What I've seen.
Not Kinski yet.
He's not Kinski, but what I've noticed about him is when he's playing long balls now, he's actually playing passes. He's not just lumping it to general areas. And I actually see him playing passes into feet now to Richarlison. Like he's playing a direct pass. He's not just lumping it forward. So he's getting more comfortable.
That's what happens when you have a top quality goalkeeping coach and not Rob Birch.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be improving. So that's really, really positive. Malware says, if we don't get the number 10 by the end of the window, which would be no surprise to anyone, you guys think Frank's go-to formation would be 3-5-2? No, I don't actually. I don't.
Do you think he'll persist with Pape or Bergvall in the 10?
Yeah, I think he'll. I don't think, or even Kudus, maybe put him there and put someone else on the right, or something else. I don't think his go-to is going to be 3-5-2.
If he puts Kudus in the middle, then
maybe 3-4-3.
Right winger options are really short.
Maybe 3-4-3.
but who in the 10s?
They're not 10s. Oh, you've got Kudus on the right and a winger on the left, to a Tell or Odobert or whatever. Maybe he does that. I don't think 3-5-2 is going to be his general one. I think this one is for really tough games like this where you're really focused on breaking up the play and just disruption That is the name of the game. That's what it was against PSG, because you have the back five and you got the three basically workhorse in the middle. The aim of the game is basically you're not allowing them to play football. Anytime they're playing in that middle, they're looking to put moves together, you're disrupting them. That's it. But I don't think against, if you play a 3-5-2 at home to Burnley, I think it's even more of a struggle to break him down, in my opinion. I don't think it's that. I think you're making it too hard for yourself. 3-4-3 is different, though. At least you've got the three players up there and you've got the two wing backs as well. So I think that could be potentially his go-to. I wouldn't be surprised if if we don't get a 10, that would be the solution to combating that.
See, we're playing these 3-5-2s, right, against like Man City and PSG. When we play like the likes of Arsenal, though, who deploy different kind of tactics to like a PSG and a Man City, what formation do you think we go in kind of that game? I don't think it'll be 3-5-2.
I think it could be 3-5-2 again. I think it could be. Although, if you're relying on a battle between Saliba, Gabriel up against Kudus and Richarlison, that all of a sudden becomes a bit more difficult. But I think 3-5-2 you could use in that game as well.
Well, Saliba and Gabriel up against two strikers is actually better than Saliba and Gabriel up against one striker.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but the what's it called? How this works is Kudus and Richarlison have to be winning their individual battles, and they did it against PSG. I can actually potentially see them doing it tomorrow, because I think I'm looking at Stones and Diaz, and look, they're good defenders, don't get me wrong, but are they the most physical? Saliba and Gabriel are the most physical. So I probably envisage them becoming out second best more often than not.
It's true, they are the most physical, but also, like I have noticed at times, if you put particularly Saliba under pressure, he can crumble a few times. He can crumble a little bit. I
don't disagree. But I agree. I think we probably will play that formation, to be honest. It gives us maybe the best chance. But I'm just saying, it's still quite difficult. But yeah, I think that probably will be the formation. But again, depending on who we sign between now and the end of the window.
All right, go to the last one.
Barry Jones. My 11 would be Walker, Stephen Carr, Vega, Nevercott, Liang Pio, Sinton, O'Hara, David Howells, Dominguez, Postiga, and Armstrong.
What an 11.
Unbelievable. What, your 11 for tomorrow?
What an 11.
Very random, but I'm all here for it. It's quite
Dominguez, he plays on the wingers. I used to love Jose Dominguez.
It's not quite a flop 11, but it's also like, I don't know what kind of, it's kind of just like a random 11. It's like because but you got like Postiga, who is a flop. But you got players like, Carr, who wasn't a flop. So I'm trying to work out.
Carr was a turncoat.
He was a turncoat. What kind of 11 is this? Is you just put 11 kind of random players together?
I think he tried to put together a flop 11, but a few of them are not flops.
Interesting. All right. There you go.
But that is the super chats. Let's finish off on the match preview. It is Manchester City against Tottenham, second game of the season. And, past performances at the Etihad have been decent. If you look at these games, obviously 4-0 last time, 3-3 the game before that. And quite interestingly enough, obviously we went there under Ange in those two games. Two very different performances, those 3-3 and the 4-0. I felt like the 3-3, we were just all out, ball out, like just going for them. Where in the 4-0 game, it was kind of very tactical, where we were sitting deep, working on the transition and just killing them, absolutely killing them on the transition. And that's got to be more of the kind of the potential game plan of what we're going to look at this weekend.
I agree. The only problem is you think back at that game and who were the real killers in that game?
Well,
Decky and Maddison, yeah. And obviously those players are not going to be there. So we're going to have to find different avenues. It's going to have to be a different kind of performance. It's more going to be physical rather than technical. I think last time it was a real technical performance. We were measured and we were very good. And yes, it was very tactical how we sat back, soaked up the pressure and then hit them. But when we got into the final third, you think about all the goals, extremely technical. Brilliant ball from Kudus to Maddison, the back post. You remember that brilliant link up between Maddison and Son on the edge of the box before Maddison clipped it over Edison. Porro's goal as well. brilliant, brilliant stuff just from a technical standpoint. I don't think we're going to see much of that tomorrow. It's going to be more about how often can Kudus beat his man? How often can he win that duel? How often can we win a second ball? How often are we going to be causing problems from set pieces? That is how we're going to hurt them tomorrow. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. If we had Maddison and Decky, maybe it's a different story. And maybe we can think about really opening them up with our quality. I just don't see that happening tomorrow. I think it's going to be a different kind of, going to have to be a different kind of performance.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be as pretty to watch. And it's maybe not going to be, you know, the goals aren't going to be as pretty as they were last year, I don't think. But it doesn't mean it can't be as effective. And
I don't care how the goals come, as long as they come. You know what I mean? Like, they could come off Richarlison's backside for all I care, off 2 deflected crosses. You know what I mean? Like, just put the ball in the back of the net. That's all I care about. You know, there's been a lot said about Manchester City after last weekend. Very impressive performance, very impressive win. The new signings just bedding in very well. Obviously, Tijani Reinders, everyone's talking about him now. Goal and assist in his first game. Haaland back at it with 2 goals on the first game. Ryan Ait-Nouri, I thought, looked really strong in his first game as well. But, you know, a lot of people saying about Spurs as well, you know, we won 3-0. Impressive result on the first game, particularly for a manager's first game. But it was just against Burnley. That's what people were saying about Spurs. Well, I could also throw the same thing back at Manchester City, that it's only against Wolves. And I know Wolves have been a very good Premier League side for a number of years now. However, they have lost Ryan Ait-Nouri. They have lost Matthias Cunha as well. You know what I mean? And I think the way Wolves are set up this season, with the personnel that they've got, they're in for a very long, hard season.
I agree. The only thing I would say to counteract that is I thought City's level of performance was a lot better than ours. So, like, they really opened them up and took them to the sword, whereas our performance was, you can't deny, was stodgy. It relied on a few moments. I think, to be fair, once we got it to 2-0, I actually thought the performance was a lot better and we were a lot more confident and we controlled the game a lot better than maybe before, where it was kind of very stodgy. We actually struggled in build-up and all these different things. Once we got to 2-0 and made it 3 very quickly, it became a lot more easier on the eye, and I thought the level of performance was better. But Man City just dominated from start to finish. They were just opening them up, and the football was literally throughout the whole game was a delight to watch.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. And like I said, I was very impressed with Man City first game of the season, but the fixture was like Wolves don't seem ready for the season.
That's true as well.
They just don't seem it, and they just keep so completely off on the day. All their star guys have left. Pretty much just Strand Larson there. And did João Gomez even play? I think he did. João Gomez in the middle of the park. So they have a few players there, but it's not the same level of team that it has been over the past couple of years.
True.
I think that's fair and safe to say. And I think that, you know, not many people talking about Liverpool, even though they scored 4, but you know, they look frail at the back. But I think if Liverpool played Wolves first game of the season, I think a lot more people would be waxing lyrical about Liverpool.
And you know what? And I look at that City defence, and I know Ait-Nouri's come in and he's good. I think he's done really well. But I'm looking at that and I think that can be, I actually think that can be got at. Yeah, I really do. I really think there are chances, and it's really annoying actually that we don't have all our ducks in a row for this game attacking wise, you know, with, you know, Eze falling through and all of that, because if we would have had a few more real quality attacking options, I think maybe we could have even gone to a back 4 in this game and really just soaked up the pressure and do a similar performance to last year. And because I really think when you man for man, like when you look at our defence and our back 4 and their back 4, is there a case we got a stronger back 4? You know what I mean? Man for man.
I think there's a serious case for it. I think a lot of people don't put the respect, on these defenders' names because of the tactics we've been deploying over the last couple of years with Ange Postecoglou, that I don't think got the best out of them on a week-to-week basis, and obviously the injuries as well, and we conceded a lot of goals. I think the defenders that we have are seriously a match for anyone in this division. I really believe that, and I think man for man, we probably do have a better defensive man.
And like, if they played the same back line as last time, Rico Lewis was played at right back. They played an injury-prone John Stones, who I like John Stones, but I feel like over the last year, he hasn't quite been, you know, on the same level as he has been in previous. Ruben Diaz is there as well, but again, like, look, quality defender. But I also feel like he was at his best maybe 2 years ago. But again, he might be coming back to his best. He might be coming back to his best this year. But I feel like, and obviously he's a multi-title winning defender. I really like him, but you know, he's not the quickest, is he? Ruben Diaz, and he's not the most physical either. I feel like he's one of those defenders who needs a physical one next to him. Like, I think he's really good when he's next to like an Ake or an Akanji, where he's got that physicality next to him. But I think pairing him with Stones, who are both of them aren't the most physical, I don't know if that's a good pairing. And then you got Aït-Nouri, who, yes, had a great defensive display in his first game against Wolves, but we know historically, he's not like the most defensive defender. He's very much a guy who likes to get on the ball, dribble. Especially that, obviously, he was a wing back, and maybe Pep will find a different element to his game. But you know, he's not a defender who you look at and think you just can't get past that guy, is it? He's not the best one-on-one defender. So I'm looking at the back line. I think if we can get the ball to Kudus and Richarlison, get Porro and Spence helping, and Sarr potentially, you know, I'd even be tempted maybe not to go to a back five and just get an extra attacker in there to really hurt them potentially, because I think that defence. I think that clean sheet maybe has blinded people to think how vulnerable that defence really is. Because I really do. Because their defence in pre-season was vulnerable, and I think Man City are going to outscore a lot of teams this year because they've got such great talent up front. But I'm looking at their defence. Gvardiol's not going to play; he's injured. Like, that defensive line that played on last week, if they played at the same defensive line, that can definitely be got at. Yeah, it's definitely vulnerable.
Pep Guardiola's made a career out of outscoring teams for Man City. You know, how many leagues have they won just by outscoring opponents? And their attack is so potent. I think it's important for us to have that five at the back, have that defensive solidity. And I think with the players that we've got, like Pedro Porro, who's got to be given the license to get up and down the pitch and provide his crossing ability, with the likes of Mohamed Kudus and Richarlison up top, with the likes of Pape Matar Sarr, who's going to has to be a really important transitional threat. I still think there's enough to go and hurt that Man City backline with five at the back.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm just worried. Well, from what I saw against PSG, I think you're right. I think in terms of the game plan, there'll be enough. But I really think there's a good opportunity to exploit Man City in transition and in open play. Whereas I think against PSG, they did such a great job, Richarlison and Kudus, don't get me wrong, but I do think in general they were very isolated, which is why we were very much relying on them being fouled, and Spurs basically took advantage of those set pieces. I do think there's more that we can get in this game. I don't think we just have to rely on set pieces. Now, I think we can, and that's not a bad game plan, and I think the 3-5-2 might force us to do that. But I do think there's potentially even more there for us to really go at them if we add an extra attacker. Maybe even go for a 3-4-3 potentially, as opposed to a 3-5-2. But on the flip side, I think even though that was the performance against PSG, actually, as I said before, I actually do think I can see Kudus and Richarlison getting even more joy. So I think against PSG, they did really well in the duels and they hold the ball really well, but they were getting fouled a lot. I actually think Kudus in this game might be able to even get closer to goal on more occasions and actually maybe become more of a goal threat in this game, because I think I can see Kudus getting more joy out of Stones and Diaz than he did out of Paco and Marquinhos, because those two are much more physical than Diaz and Stones. Yeah. So I can really see Kudus actually licking his lips a bit, thinking, give the ball to me, I can turn these guys and run into that space. And that will actually might cause more of a transitional threat. And actually, we might be able to create more in open play than we did against PSG.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I would stick with that formation, the 5-3-2 or the 3-5-2, whichever way you want to call it. I think it's the perfect formation to take in this game. We cannot underestimate the attacking threat that Man City are going to pose in this game at home as well. They're going to be all over us, and we're going to need to hang in there at times. We really are. And every time that we've been to the Etihad, there's been that element to the game where we've just got to dig in. We just got to hang in there for a bit. Look at that game where we drew 3-3. Like, we were so lucky not to be 4-5-0 down by the first half. Haaland just didn't have his shooting boots on in that first half, and Emerson Royale just kept playing it into and kept playing it. But I think in every single time we've gone to the Etihad, there's just been that moment in the game. So I think it's just really important that we have an extra man in defence, aggressive defenders in Danso and Romero and Mickey van de Ven, Jed Spence as well, and the likes of Pedro Porro. Just sit them tight. Paulinho covering that space as well with Rodrigo Bentancur. I think they'll find it really hard to break us down.
Where in if we play like this, where do you see maybe what are you worried about Man City getting the advantage? Like probably midfield, you would say?
Well, I would say even in midfield, I think we can hold our own. I think we can hold our own everywhere on the pitch. I think the main concern is us going forward, but I am quite comfortable with us as a defensive unit. But Man City have got so much quality, they can hurt any defensive unit. Even if you think you're playing at the top of your game, in a second they can just be in there like a flash, one ball into Erling Haaland, bang, that's it, clinical edge. You know what I mean?
I guess Doku up against Porro. I think Doku does usually give Porro quite a tough time when they play against each other. But obviously Porro, if we play this formation, we'll have a bit of support from Danso.
That's the thing.
That's obviously not bad. But
that's the thing, because if we went with a back four and it's Doku against Porro, then I'm worried a lot more. But if he's got Danso backing him up and always there to cover for him, then again that's more defensive solidity, and I'm more comfortable with that. I think Jed Spence can hold his own on that side as well. So I'm quite confident that Spurs can go into this game and show a really good defensive performance and restrict Man City.
Yeah. The thing with what I was seeing against Wolves for City was Rico Lewis was obviously playing that inverted role on the fullback. They had Bob and Doku very, very wide. You had Aït-Nouri supporting Doku, but very much like it kind of became a three with Lewis, Stones and Diaz. I think it would be a bit of a shame if Lewis is going to play that inverted role, given his profile. I think, look, he's a good player, but he's going to leave a lot of space. If you've got someone down that side to exploit that space, like ruthlessly, I don't know if a front two, because that would be focused very centrally. If you had someone out there on the left, just whenever we're in transition, just exploiting that space ruthlessly, there's going to be a lot of space down there, right-hand side, down our left-hand side. So I wonder if he's going to have a plan for that. Yeah, I wonder if he'll get Kudus over there, or maybe Richarlison or something.
Well, it could even be the wing-backs in terms of Jed Spence and Pedro Porro, get them higher up the pitch. But that's going to take a lot of energy out of them, because they're going to need to be going up and down and up and down and up and down.
Maybe one of the midfielders
throughout the whole game.
Because you saw Sarr sometimes when he moves even to when we're pressing, he moves to an up front, or he can even move. I think, what was it, the PSG game at goal kicks, he was moving to a wide position, wasn't he? And we were aiming for him.
Yeah.
And I can see that happening when we get a goal kick, get Sarr on Rico Lewis and just aim for that and just get him to bully him.
No doubt Thomas Frank is going to be looking at any sort of tactical edge, any sort of gaps that Man City leave on the pitch, and he will be exploiting that. No doubt about it. He will definitely be exploiting that.
Does Rodri start and Foden, you think?
I don't think they start. I know Pep said in his press conference that they're ready, but I think they start on the bench for this one.
Yeah. So the mid. Do you think they go unchanged? Do you reckon, from Wolves?
Look, there's always a chance for Pep Roulette. I'm trying to see the team that they played against Wolves was Aït-Nouri, Diaz, Stones and Lewis at the back. Reinders, Nico Gonzalez, Bernardo Silva in the 10, Bob on the right, Doku on the left and Haaland up top.
Maybe you could change Bernardo for Cherki.
I think Marmoush is a possibility to start.
Marmoush.
Look,
Yeah,
they can go
so
for anyone,
much.
man. They got Nunes that can come in at fullback. They got Marmoush that can come in across the forward line. They got Ryan Cherki, who came on and made an impact when he came on.
If that would be a smart move, if they change Nunes to Lewis, I think that's a smart move, because he's got that little bit extra physicality, and it makes it that little bit harder for us.
I wouldn't be surprised if Marmoush starts against Doku instead of Doku
on the left.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They've got so many different options. It's so hard to kind of prepare for a game when you just don't know who's going to play. That is Pep Roulette.
And if you're Pep, do you analyse the PSG game and plan for that, or do you analyse for the game that we played last week against Burnley and play for a back four? I guess that's the positive thing about Frank, is you can't just basically spend all week saying we're going to plan for this, because Frank can obviously play different formations. So that is obviously the positive about having an adaptable manager, is it keeps the opposition manager guessing a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But I think he'll have an inkling that Spurs will probably go 5 at the back, 3-5-2. He's obviously managed against Thomas Frank many a time in the Premier League so far, and I think Frank's had his joy against Man City and against Pep Guardiola, and vice versa. But Pep will speak about Frank in the press conference. He's like saying, no doubt Thomas Frank is going to be a great manager and do a great job at Spurs. He was always glazing over him when he was at Brentford as well, saying no doubt this guy is going to get a big job in the future as well. He says, I know my managers, and I know when I see a good manager, and Thomas Frank is a good manager. Yeah, look, it's going to be a very interesting tactical battle on the weekend. I think Man City are going to have the lion's share of possession. I predict something like over 70% of the possession probably on the day. And we're going to have to stay compact. We're going to have to stay patient. We're going to have to be very aggressive up against this Man City side. And we just need to restrict them. Just restrict them. And I think if we do restrict them and they get a bit frustrated, we can nick that ball in the middle of the park and spring on them. And we've got the players to do that with Pape Sarr. I mean, João Palhinha is going to have to be the enabler, isn't he? He's going to just have to be everywhere in that middle of the park, be up very aggressive against the likes of Tijani Reinders, nick the ball and just pass it on to a player that can drive the ball forward. And when the likes of Pape Matar and Bentancur, they've got it in them to drive the ball forward and create chances for us.
It's a weird one, isn't it, in terms of what we can learn from this game, because it's almost as if I feel sometimes, because we have such a good record at the Etihad, it's almost like if we go there and win tomorrow, it's almost like it counts against us. So we've always had a good record. So people's reactions like, yeah, you always win at the Etihad. It's not even that impressive. Yeah, you just have something overseas. So like, what do you think? Like, is it a statement if we go there and win tomorrow, or is it just like that you can't learn much because we always beat City at the Etihad?
Yeah, it's true. Like, under every manager since Poch, or even with Poch, like we've beaten Man City. Nuno, I know it wasn't at the Etihad, but we beat Man City. Mourinho, we beat Man City. Conte, we beat Man City at the Etihad. Ange, yeah. We beat Man City. So we do have that thing over Man City. However, with the way that Man City started the season in the first game, already everyone's calling them champions-elect after the one game. Everyone's saying, look, no one looks as good as Man City. They're going to win the title. And I think with the way they've started the season, in my opinion, it's a statement if Spurs go and win at the Etihad this weekend. Regardless, look, what's happened in past seasons happened in past seasons. It doesn't kind of relate to this game, It's a completely isolated event going into this game. It's a new manager. It's a new way of playing. Pep Guardiola's refreshed his squad. They're looking good. And I think the PSG game gave us a kind of blueprint how to play against these teams, particularly away, against these big attacking forces. And if we can take what we did against PSG, relate it into this game and have success with it, then I think that, people are going to start recognising Spurs could be a bit of a force to be reckoned with this season.
Yeah, and I guess, look, obviously it depends on the context. If we just get extremely lucky, then you can't really say this means we're serious. But if we put in like a really serious performance and, really professional, we win there, we go there and win 1 or 2-0, and we can really shut up shop, keep them out, we just take our chances when they come, that would really show like a real different level of different Tottenham we're seeing, isn't it? And that would be a lot of evidence to suggest, wow, Frank's really onto something good, because he already would have been playing PSG and Man City and basically kept them both out and basically frustrated both of them. And that's not easy to do, especially in your your first 3 competitive games as a manager for your new club. So look, there's going to be a lot to learn from tomorrow. I'm really excited. I'm really interested to see how he sets up, how we approach this game, and I really think we can hurt them. I'm not confident we're going to win, but I'm confident we're really going to give them a game, and it's we're going to be happy with what we see. That's what I'm confident with. I'm not saying confident that we're going to even get a point or anything like that. We might do, and I think we got a chance though. I definitely think we got a chance. Yeah, I'll take a draw. Look, it's a draw at the Etihad. I think it's a good point. I don't think you can ever take a point for granted. So if you offer me a draw now, I'll take it. But do I think we can win? Yeah, I do. I do think we can win. I don't think there's a very high likelihood of it, even though we've just got this thing at the Etihad, and we do just seem to go there and win. It's a weird thing, isn't it? Apparently, in the last 10 games, I think we've won 6 of them or something weird like that.
Yeah, so the last time we lost at the Etihad was that 4-2 game.
And we were 2-0 up in that one.
Then before, so that was 2023. Then before that was 2021. And then before 2021, 2019. I mean, we do lose there fairly regularly. I mean, not regularly. But
I'm saying, I saw that in the last 10 games, I think we've lost 4 or something. So, like, we don't lose more than we lose. We win more than we lose. So, it's just a weird thing.
Well, there's a couple of draws in there as well.
Couple of draws.
3-3, the 2-2. But look, I am quietly confident going into this game. Do I think we'll win? Probably not. Do I think we can win? Most definitely. I think we've definitely got the tools to hurt them. I think if we go 3-5-2, it gives us the best chance to go and win that game, to go and really frustrate Manchester City. Like I said before, it's going to be important. There's going to be moments in the game, periods in the game, where we're just going to have to be working incredibly hard, digging deep, not letting Man City overroar us. We're going to have to be patient. We're going to have to spring on them, and we have to be stupid clinical. The likes of João Palhinha, super important in this game. The likes of Pedro Porro, unbelievably important in this game. Like Pedro Porro, like I mentioned before in the predicted lineup, every aspect of his game is going to be called into question in this game, where you're talking about his defensive capabilities, you're talking about his ability to get up and down the pitch, you're talking about his ability to get crosses into the box, his over-the-ball drives from deep, his over-the-ball, lob through balls from deep. Every single aspect of his game is going to be called into question and come to the fore. And look, I talk about the important players, but every single player is vitally important. There's no one player on the pitch that's not going to be super important. If you're going to go to Etihad and take anything from the game, it's going to have to be an unbelievable team performance.
I do wonder if Frank has another surprise in store. He said, he says in his press conference, he was saying he doesn't believe there's such a thing as a go-to plan. And he says each game, he's got his tactical tweaks and he's got his different things to bring in each game. I wonder if he's obviously, we had this game against PSG and we set up in this way. I wonder if he's got another tactical surprise up his sleeve.
Maybe. He very well could be. Could he go for the 3-5-2? The 3-4-3?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a feeling that he could. I really think so. Like, I think
that's the thing with Frank. You just never know what he's going to do.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And I think that kind of element of surprise is going to do us so good for us over the course of the season. It's going to be so hard for teams to plan against us. It's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
But look, I think usually when you got a game like this, you're like thinking, oh God, how are we going to deal with this? But I'm actually feeling positive going into the game tomorrow. 12:30 kickoff at the Etihad. Can we start off the weekend with a bit of a flurry? My prediction in Predict the Prem was 1-0 to Man City, but I am feeling that Spurs can take something from this game. So I'm actually going to change up my prediction from that. And I am going to go...
You're going to change it and Predict the Prem as well?
If I'm allowed, I'm allowed.
You want to?
Maybe. I thought once it's locked in, it's locked in.
That is the rule generally. I was just interested to see if you would. All right.
I am going to go for 2-2.
2-2. I said 3-2 City. I feel like it's going to be 2-2 going into the last stages, and we're going to be sitting deep, soaking up the pressure, just trying to see it out. And I think just because on this occasion we're very early on in Frank's tenure, we're still not perfect. I've just gone for City to grab that late win, a bit of heartbreak, but those are the moments you learn from, So I've gone for 3-2 to City.
All right, well, Sim is making the very early trip up to the Etihad tomorrow. I think he leaves at about 6:30 in the morning to get up to Manchester for 12:30 kickoff. I'll be here with Sai in the studio. Whenever Sai's in the studio, mad things always do seem to happen. So tune into the watch along about 12:15. Pre-match pump up, obviously prior to that as usual, and post-match it'll be your chance to have your say on the post-match fan show after the instant match reaction. So looking forward to speaking to all of you guys after hopefully 3 points tomorrow at the Etihad. And if we do get 3 points tomorrow, that starts off the season unbelievably well with 2 wins and going into the Bournemouth game just before Bournemouth at home before the international break. Sets us up lovely going into that international break. So let's hope we can get the win. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. So look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. That is our match preview. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.